Yeah, and how many times have you had a chat or a text conversation with somebody that just got misconstrued because text does not translate sometimes?
Girlfriends mainly.
Right. Yeah. I never text the wife if we're having a serious discussion. Yeah. No.
Oh, I ignore I it's not that I ignore her, I just act like I didn't see the text, that way I could talk to her in person or over the phone.
Right. Smart man. Smart man.
Because if I say anything over text, it's gonna, like, if I forgot to put the caps lock off, it's gonna be in all caps, she's gonna think I'm screaming, which I didn't, it's just how it happened, so.
Right. No, that's smart, man. That's smart.
But when did we meet? Because when I think back, and this was back when I was first thinking about having you come on. I couldn't remember if it was in like Dan's channel or if it was in the OG hype with Dave and Sean P, or was it with the Flying Beardsman?
You know what? Honestly, so between the first two, I was not around during the Dave and Sean P days. I've heard about those hype days, but I've
Oh,
never
okay.
seen Sean P on camera. So when I came around, it was just Dave doing his thing. I would say good chance it's either Dan or that. Yeah, for sure.
Because I remember you came out around the same time the Flying Beardsman came out, didn't you? It's been
Yeah.
a minute. It's just
Yeah, we were around the same time frame. Yeah. 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 I miss John. I
whatever.
wonder how John's doing.
I had no idea what happened to him. I knew he was having like some teacher things, and then kind of just fell off the map. I remember his last interview we did was with a UFC fighter.
Oh, I missed that
I
one.
I remember watching the UFC fighter back in the, like, when he was coming up through Bellator and stuff like that. But he had a few fights in the UFC, and then that was his last interview that I remember.
Oh, why don't I remember
I
that
wish
one?
somebody had heard from him, because I mean, I thought he was probably the best interviewer in the beard community for like one-on-one conversation, in my opinion, of course. Now, Dan is great, but I think that like the Flying Beardsman did a better job of like highlighting the person, because Dan isn't known for one-on-one like this. Dan's known for
Right.
highlighting a product. Now, when he had Mick Foley on, that was cool. Like, I don't know if you got to see that. That
I
was
did.
probably one of the coolest things he did.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, and John was a phenomenal interviewer. Yeah, his streams were always well done.
Like, he came across to me as the type of guy that was gonna probably do this like long term, like podcast wise. Like, he was gonna have like a big old studio. Like, that's what I got from him. I really liked his company. I mean, I don't know if it was his teaching thing that was. I mean, he was from like Jersey, wasn't he, or something like that? Up there with like, he was up there in the States, I think.
Yeah, he's somewhere over there. I don't remember exactly where though. Yeah,
I
he's
just
a good
wasn't
dude. I'd
sure.
like to
Like,
see him back at it.
oh yeah, and it didn't even need to be beard reviews, because they did the beard reviews thing as a group, kind of like with your Leatherheads.
Right.
But I preferred his one-on-one conversation. Like, he was the first guy to have like, he had the guy that did Beard Brand, the model for Beard Brand. What was his name?
So
Bermitsby, or
yeah, Eric. Well, of course I'm gonna forget this while we're chatting, man. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, of course.
he looks like Zeus. That's all I can get from it.
Right.
He's like
Yeah.
probably the best beard model out there for a guy that you wouldn't think would be a model.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Are you talking about the guy with the darker colored beard or the lighter colored?
The gray. He was like, he's probably mid-50s.
Oh
Always
yes.
talks about. Oh man, what is his name?
What is his name?
Something,
You know what?
Brzezinski. Something Brzezinski.
Greg Brzezinski. There you go.
Greg Brzezinski. Okay. I knew it was something, but that dude, like, if I had his style, I probably would feel a little bit better about myself. That guy's got some style.
That guy's got it. I mean, I don't know how old he is. He's got to be in his, I don't know.
Mid-50s, maybe.
Greg, if you hear this and I'm wrong, yeah, 50s, 60s.
Yeah, I'll have to tag him in this, because he looks great for his age, but I wish I had that color of beard. Like, that would be so legit.
Yeah, he makes the silver fox beard thing look good for sure.
Oh, him and his wife are both like great looking for their age, and I'm sure that they're very into their like fitness and health eating and stuff like that. But what he's done for the beard game, like just for Beard Brand, like he only uses Beard Brand, I do believe, right?
I don't know. I would assume so, but yeah.
I mean, that's the only guy that I see on Beard Brand's channel, really, like for modeling their, like, either their wax or whatever it is that they have going on. I mean, they're killing it, but I think he's the one that's killing it for him a little bit.
Yeah. The other guy that I remember from Beard Brand, I think his name is Jack Malacco. He's the dark colored beard.
Is that the barber guy?
No, the barber, his name is it's not
Elvis
Dinesh,
or
it's
something?
oh man, hold on. I'm gonna look that one up because I don't want to mess the guy's name up.
Oh, you're good. I mean, I don't think we're gonna mess anybody's name up on purpose, but
Right.
like just what I think he did for how big his channel, like his channel grew pretty quick. The Flying Beersman.
Yeah.
And what was his last name, by the way?
John. Man, I'm forgetting
I
everybody's
remember
names.
his wife. I remember his wife, but I think he only had Instagram for the Flying Beersman. His wife was on there. Like I
Yeah.
remember her, but I don't remember her name. But he was a genuine individual. He got that Joe Rogan-esque to him, and he was just I think he was it for the beard community, for just the way that he kind of got down deep into the roots of people.
He was, and he had the great voice for it. His interviews were, he had the good questions and his style of running a show. Yeah. Of course, I'm not going to remember his last name, but I hope he comes back to do it again. Dude was phenomenal. We did some streams together. We hung out. He was a really good dude.
Yeah, you guys did 8-Bit Beard Co. You guys did I think it was 8-Bit, wasn't it? No,
not
it
8-bit.
was
We did one on my channel. It was Southern Beard Co.
you did but you did another one, I think, that I haven't seen. This Renewed Man. Didn't you guys do that one together too?
We did. Yep. Good call. We did Renewed Man. Yeah.
That was who I was thinking was the 8-Bit one, because he kind of went nowhere. Like he disappeared a little bit, but I think he still sells his product, doesn't he?
Talking about Renewed Man?
Yeah.
I have not seen, so I came across him on Instagram not too long ago, but it doesn't look like he's active. I'm not sure. I want to say that I went to his website, but I don't remember if he had anything in stock, if he was still actively selling or not.
He was another one of those guys that kind of like, I loved his personality in the beard game. I mean, I sort of fell out of like, not necessarily the beard like community. I fell out of the review side of things. I don't go to watch like just for reviews, just because I know what I like already.
Right.
I go for like the live streams when I can come, or if there's somebody like you have the big Live Bearded thing coming up, I'll be sure to pop my head in for that. You got like 15 days or something left on that? It's like 10 or 15 days.
October 18th. Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited about that
15
stream.
exactly.
That's going to be a great conversation, I think.
That's more my thing now, I think, because I know what I like in beard products and I know what I like for scents.
Right.
So, and that's, I mean, I enjoy a good review of a product, but I think that a lot of the products, like all you're really reviewing after you've tried something, is the scent profile. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's times where I'll talk to a company and they'll want to send me, their latest scent or whatever, and they'll be like, how much time do you need? And I don't need as much time to review. If I've reviewed that company before and they haven't changed their carriers, all I need to do is get a feel for the scent one time and pretty much good to go.
Yeah, and that's the only reason why I said that I fell out of that community side of things, is just because I don't watch as many reviews. Now, if I come across like maybe a 3-minute one, then I'll sit down and I'll watch it. But other than that, I really enjoyed the, like you said, the chat rooms and stuff like that, and that's how we got met. But for the listeners, why don't you like kind of give a stroll about how you get started and where you were, I guess, when we met with bluegrass beard. I mean, you were bluegrass bearded. Like that's really, when I think of you, I think of bluegrass bearded and then Ken. So
yeah,
why don't you come off that?
You can still see a remnant of the old logo right here. I don't know if you can tell that's what it is or not, but
well, when I actually cut to a different scene, it'll actually show your whole camera spread. So
there you go.
That's
So
another
you should be able to see
so.
at least most of it. Yeah. No, yeah. So yeah, I started as bluegrass bearded back in 2020. It was kind of funny. Like I never really had plans to grow a big channel. I started jumping in Dan's live streams, and the way that I got there was got out of the Army in 2005. Started growing my beard instantly. Mainly because I was tired of being forced to shave every day. So anyway, several years doing that. And I always kept it short because I worked in an office at the time, and I couldn't get it looking good. And it really comes down to the fact that I was not using good products. And so anyway, one day I was trying to find something, and I found Dan's morning routine video. That's how I came across beard content on YouTube. And so it's like, I could do this. I put some videos up, just had some fun with it. And the further along things went, it got more fun, and started doing live streams and getting to know more people. Did that for a while. I guess we can talk about my split personality, like the multiple channels and stuff, right?
Oh, we
So
could definitely get down that because if I was going to do an interview, I would probably start it off with either the man that has a Christmas tree up year round. I love your wife. Your wife is probably the okay. I'm going to shout your wife out right now. I
oh, go
think that
for it.
this is this is the one thing that I think another thing that highlights you as a content creator is that your wife, whatever you have your I guess your niche at the time, because you were Ken Bluegrass Bearded, and then you were Ken the content coach. Every single time that you changed your like I guess platform or like we said the niche, she was right there behind you. She changed it from Mel, the content coach's wife, or I don't remember what exactly it was, but I mean, she supports you in everything that you do. So shout out her. Like she's definitely your do or die right there. I mean,
She's amazing. She helps me with idea. I mean, she just when it comes to beard products, she smells everything that comes in, and we talk about scents. And she's helped me behind the scenes, like help companies with scents. I mean, she really gets into it. As far as her name goes, it's funny you say that because she did change, her YouTube moniker every time I did that. But this last time, she said, "Look, I'm not changing my name again." So now she's Mel the Cookie Queen, and that's it.
and I think that that probably fits because, like, I was kind of, I guess I was kind of not taken back, but like you went from I mean, we all knew that you were going from content for beard reviews to content coaching. So, what made you go? I want to know what kind of brought you down that whole road of the true crime because that was kind of a shocker for me because I really didn't take you as a guy that was into that part, and I didn't know if maybe you were reaching for like that niche for that female like side of things. Was that what it was?
No, so it's funny. We it really comes down to like just my life at that point. Doing beard reviews, doing that kind of stuff is time consuming, right? Um, and then jumping into content coaching, which I did that because I had I was helping people behind the scenes. Like people want to know how do I do these things in videos that I do and things like that. So I was like, you know what, I kind of like doing this. So I started doing some content coaching, mainly YouTube and TikTok. Um, and then so what it was July 2022. The last couple of years have flown by, man. Time, as we get older, time
Yeah.
goes so fast, dude.
I don't want to
Um,
know. I don't want to actually believe it, but it's true.
it
And I'm
absolutely
not
is.
that old. I mean, you and I aren't that big of difference in age. I'm 35. You're 42, I believe, right?
Right, 42.
So all my friends are your age, outside of my two best friends who are my exact age. But after I hit probably 35 years, feels like it was only maybe 2 years. That's how it feels to me, and that's what's crazy. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
It's so fast, dude. So like July 2022, it came down to my personal life. I had less time to actually really devote to creating content. So I stepped out of the content coaching at that point only because of what was going on. I retired from the Army in July 2022. Um, and I got a new job, civilian job, private sector job. But I had to learn that new job. Like I've been doing the same job for so many years, and when you make a big life change like that, you have to learn. Man, this is new. Like my entire routine has changed. We were planning a move from Kentucky to Wisconsin, so there was just so much going on personally that I didn't have time to devote to creating content on that level. So, but I still wanted to do something, right? Um, Around the same time, that's when the Christmas parade thing happened. So the guy that drove his SUV through the Christmas parade, I really got into that trial. Now, you asked me a second ago about true crime. Me and Mel both love true crime. We watch true crime documentaries and TV shows. Like that's our thing. We always watch it. So I already had an interest in it. Always have. And so when that Christmas parade thing happened, it just so happens that I live in the county now. I was still in Kentucky then, but this is where my wife is from. My niece was at that parade. And so I got really, really into that trial and just started creating content about that. So that was a way to really talk about something like that. That parade thing, that trial really hit close to home, right? And it still gave me an outlet to create content with my busy schedule. So I just kind of fell into doing that. So that's really how that happened.
Well, because I think I do remember like you were also like was it 2020 that you also went on this fitness journey of I guess bettering yourself after 40? Was that what it was? Or was
No,
that
so
2019?
that's more recent. That's more recent.
Oh,
So
I thought
I
you
did
actually
a little
started
bit.
working out. Okay.
Yeah, so a little bit from like 2020 to 2023. I was doing a little bit. Like I managed to lose a little bit of weight, but wasn't really doing enough. It was January 2023 is when I really started getting serious about it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And this is probably what you said. I think I saw a previous one you lost 70? No, who was it? No, that was Cruz that lost 70 pounds at one time, wasn't it? Or is that you?
Well, I'm down almost 100 pounds from my heaviest weight right now.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh,
I know
from the
Cruz.
that's what it was. It was that military picture that you had. That's what it was.
Yeah.
From what?
So
Yeah.
when
Okay.
I got so just to clarify, I left active duty in 2005. I got hurt, and then after that, I was an Army civilian for 20 years, whatever that is. Basically from '05 to 2022, I was an Army civilian. So, what comes with that, I still work for the Army, but there's no PT, there's no, you don't have any of that going on.
Right.
So, because I got hurt, I couldn't run anymore. I stopped doing anything because I used to love running so much. And when I couldn't run, dude, I was like, I don't want to use the word depressed. I never know how to tell the story. I won't say I was depressed, but I was like, man, if I can't run, I'm not doing anything because I loved running so much.
Down in the dumps.
Yeah, I guess so. And when you do that, when you don't do anything, the way that I like to eat, you naturally put weight on. So that's what happened to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I'm an eater.
At least Dave can't ever say anything about your treadmill again. I don't know if you still have that treadmill that was also like a clothes rack or whatever it was. It was a dust collector.
It was a clothes rack for sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't have a treadmill, but no, don't have a treadmill, but I have a whole gym full of treadmills and stair steppers, but I don't have time for treadmills. I'm too busy doing deadlifts and squats and all that fun stuff.
I could never get into running. I was always a swimmer, like long distance swimming. It was much more enjoyable. And after they actually invented the MP3 player that you could take in water, it was a total different ball game. Like, I loved swimming already. That just added to it. Like one time I swam for like 2.5 hours without realizing it because my MP3 player died, and that's how much charge I had to it.
Oh, wow.
I got out and I was so depleted of calories that I couldn't lift my arms when I got out. So when I went, I ate 4 burritos from Chipotle. Like that's how hungry I was. Like I've never been that hungry in my life.
Those are big burritos too.
Oh, I killed them. Like it was easy. I mean, this was also back when I was actually like kind of like what you're doing now. Like I was lifting and I was prepping all my meals and stuff like that. And I think that's also another reason why I kind of got burned out on it is on top of that was wrestling. I was a wrestler in high school, swimming. I think I burned myself out by being too strict on myself to where I was eating a chicken breast every 4 hours and rice every 4 hours for probably 2.5, 3 years when I was working in a hospital. And I just was like, I think I burned myself out on chicken. So like whenever I hear chicken, I'm like, is there steak an option? Because it's
right.
Like,
hey, you were doing that a lot more strict than what I do for sure.
Well, I had a different goal in mind. My goal was to be like I didn't want to necessarily be a CrossFitter, but I wanted to have the physique of Rich Froning. That man has like probably the best physique for people my age. Like I think he's actually my age, and he was the world's fittest man for 7 years in a row. So I had a goal. I just didn't want to be a CrossFitter. That was just too intense for me. So
you know what it was with running for me? I didn't like running either when I first started. I mean, of course, in the Army, you're forced to do all this stuff. So you have to embrace the suck and do it whether you want to do it or not. But, the Army, what it became, so when I was in Fort Jackson, finished basic training and AIT at Fort Jackson, and then somehow I ended up staying there as my first duty station. So I was at Fort Jackson for about 2 years. And there was a group of some dudes I become really good friends with, but they were awesome runners. And, we're all in the Army. I mean, most of us are a bunch of alpha males and we all want to beat each other and, do the best. So it just became like this competition thing, like who could run the best. Sometimes I was the fastest, sometimes I wasn't. Like it was true competition. I was an A group runner, which A group runner, you're running 5 to 6 minute miles, something like that.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, dude, we were killing it. And when I got hurt again, after that, I couldn't run anymore. I've tried to run since then. I just can't do it. But anyway, that's how I came to love running, was the competition, just trying to beat the next guy,
Even without the competition, you liked it that much even afterwards?
Oh, dude, it became...
Or did you always have the competition?
No, I mean, so after the Army, I mean, that competition wasn't there for sure. But it's kind of like, me lifting weights now, it becomes a natural part of your life at that point. Like when you've done it for so long and you've gotten good at it, like this is now what I am. I'm a runner. So yeah, unfortunately, because of my injury, I can't run. My ankles and my knees just, hurt me for days when I do. So, yeah, those days are over. What's that?
Have you ever tried swimming?
So
Like laps.
not like that. No.
Oh man, it is so like now for somebody who I'm assuming you listen to music whenever you do any type of cardio, correct?
Oh yeah. I listen to
I
music all
highly
the time.
suggest if you ever decide to go try swimming, like first of all, I highly suggest you wear a head cap just to hold the headphones in. Like get a waterproof MP3 player. It will change your whole aspect. Like I hated swimming. Like there's only two things I ever wanted to quit in life. When I went to my grandmother's house, she had me pull weeds, and I hated pulling weeds. That was the worst thing in my life.
Right.
And then I had an opportunity and met some kids in the neighborhood that were on swim team. I knew I didn't want to pull weeds, so I joined the swim team. And when I started swimming for that first week, I wanted to quit that, but I didn't want to pull weeds, so I just stuck with swimming. And I began to love swimming, and there was no competition in it. It was just the fact that you're alone. Like, you can't hear anything when you're in the water, whether you have headphones in or not. Like, you
Right.
can't hear anything, and it's just you staring at a line, and you're working on something that's you're working against yourself, and that's really it. Just like building up to either lifting weights or running that 5-minute mile or 6-minute mile. The swimming thing is like perfecting either a flip or just swimming for this amount of time. So like my first time ever swimming in my life, I got first place, and I don't know how. Like it was a long distance swim. I just wasn't as gassed as I would be if I ran.
Right.
And I was not necessarily the fittest person in the pool, but when I got into football, like after that, like I had some of the best muscle, like strength, upper body strength that I've ever had in my entire life. It was a little weird just because I didn't want to wear a Speedo. Like that was the weird thing for me for swimming. But now
Right.
that I didn't have to wear a Speedo, I could just throw in some headphones, put on a head cap, and swim for 2.5 hours. And the time just flew by.
Yeah, I think that I would probably get in a pool now. Like my problem for the last 15 years has been as overweight as I was. Like there's no way I want to take my shirt off and get in a pool. I think I would do it now, but I don't think I would still wear a Speedo. I think that I'm with you. I think that'd be
Right,
weird.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's especially the ones that are like built like for the bikini style. That was way too weird for me. And then
Right.
they finally went to the ones that look like shorts, so I was totally fine with that. But I mean, I just hated running. Like I liked rowing, swimming, and then like doing the aerodyne type bikes, like the ones with a fan on them. I didn't like the treadmill. The ellipticals were kind of okay. It was better than the treadmill, that's for sure.
Yeah. I tell you,
But
treadmill. I don't like treadmills either, but what I do like about a treadmill is two really good workouts on a treadmill. One, 3.5 miles per hour, 10% incline for 30 minutes.
oh yeah.
Is a fantastic workout, and then also do that backwards. Walk
Oh, I don't know.
backwards on the
That's
treadmill
that's
at a
some David
slight.
Goggins stuff.
Yeah, I mean, not at a 10, not at a what I say
Oh, not the
10,
incline.
not
Yeah,
not
the
at that
10.
high of an incline. You want some incline to it, not that high. That's really good for
Yeah.
your knees, honestly. If you have like
Oh, have
knee
you seen the
pain and
ones
ankle
that like
pain
are
like I do,
self-spinning? Is that like the self-spinning one or the actual motor one?
it's still a motorized treadmill. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I mean, you may be able to do it on the other type, but what I'm talking about is standard treadmill.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I don't know if I've got my coordination in my legs enough. Like I've got legs that are built kind of like a fullback. It's
right.
kind of weird. Like I can't find like certain jeans that'll fit me right. Like they might say they're relaxed fit. They're still going to look like skinny jeans no matter what. And I'm
Right.
short, so that doesn't help at all.
Look, I live in Wisconsin and I work from home, so like I'm usually I come home from the gym in the morning, so I get up and go to the gym at 4:45. I come home by 6:30. I'm putting on clean gym clothes to make the trek downstairs to go to work. So I don't wear a lot of
Mark
jeans anyway,
Wahlberg, modern day Mark Wahlberg right here.
right? I walk down.
4:45. I didn't know that came twice a day.
Yeah, it sure does, man. It sure does.
Oh,
Yeah. That's another thing you get used to though, man. My alarm goes off 4:45 and most of the time I'm right up. Sometimes if I've been up late the night before it's kind of rough, but yeah.
I mean, 4:45 is like pushing it for me, but like I'm usually up between 5:30 and 6 just for work. But that whole early morning workout thing, I always benefited from it just because it was a routine thing. So like when I'm in sports, as long as it's early in the morning and I knocked that out first thing in the day, I had other things to like, I guess, almost gift myself, like whether it would be like a 30-minute nap or whatever.
Yeah. Not
That's
only
usually
that,
how
but
I, yeah.
yeah, not only that, but when you get up and do that early morning workout, so it feels great to get up and do a workout. So I'm at the gym by 5 o'clock. The gym's 2 minutes away. It feels great to get that early workout in, and you've accomplished something for the day already before 6:30. You know, it's it just for me, man. I don't know if everybody feels this way, but for me, it sets the tone for my entire day because I've already accomplished something. So at that point, I've done probably the hardest thing I'm going to do all day.
Now, are you going to start doing ice baths?
I've talked about that. I've seen the people.
That's pretty manly right there. Like that's some Viking type stuff, in my opinion. Like I don't know. I don't like too much heat on certain areas of my body, and that's usually below the waist, and too much ice. Like it just doesn't mix well with me. I'm a
No, I'm
pansy
with you,
when it
man.
comes to heat and cold.
I'm with you, man. I've read all about the benefits and I've seen people doing it. There's a guy that does it. I don't remember his name, Joseph or something. He blew his account up doing this, just doing ice baths. That's all he did. I
Hmm.
blew up his TikTok and Instagram doing this, but yeah, he's up further north than I am. Like I think he's in Canada. Um, and he does his ice bath outside. Even during the winter, he was outside doing an ice bath every morning.
Yeah, there's a guy here that he owns the this local gun company and Primal Beef Jerky. He's one of the co-owners of that. They're
Oh,
the sponsor of the other podcast that I do.
right.
You've heard of Primal, haven't you?
Oh
Dan's
yeah,
reviewed
for
them.
sure. Yeah.
He would wake up at like, this was back in January. He'd wake up with like a 15-20 pound weight and crush all the ice in like this stock tank because it would
Yeah.
freeze overnight, and he would just break that barrier. That's just not me. Like that. I'd rather get up early and run on a treadmill for 30 minutes and get in an ice bath. That's just me, though.
I'm with you, man, but I'm trying to convince myself to do it because I've seen all these other people do it. I think I could probably handle it, but so far I've not convinced myself that I can handle it.
See, in your area, it'd be good because it gets so cold. Like with me, I would have to buy those bags of ice, and I mean, I'm a baller on a budget.
Yeah.
$9.99 for a 25-pound bag of ice. It's just, and if it's not cold enough, what's the point in doing it? Like,
Yeah, and I mean they make those ice bath I don't know what they call them, tubs or whatever that
yeah, they're
you can
polar
connect to a
plunges.
water hose and let it cycle. But those things I don't know if you've seen those, but they're like $6, $7, $8, $9,000. I
I'd
don't.
rather get a sauna
Yeah, right. I don't have that money. I'll
or
just stay in the cold shower.
one of those steam rooms or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, give me a cold shower, and then I mean, I thought cold rinsing like my face, like that also wasn't for me. I quit that after 1 week. Like, no, that's not for me either.
Yeah, I know there's some of the other beard guys are big on the cold rinse, but I don't enjoy that cold rinse. I don't
I'm
know.
sure it works. Hey, if it works for you, more power to you. It's just not my thing. Like, that's not how I want to get up.
Yeah, I'm sure that it works too. The problem is that water doesn't stain your beard. It runs to other places, and I don't enjoy cold water. So,
Right. And I just now got a shower head that comes off, so now I could probably strictly spray just my face, but it's still nothing that I in particularly care for just in on my body whatsoever. But I do see how a polar plunge, like the whole science behind it, like it burns certain fats and stuff like that and raises your testosterone level. So, but with your fitness thing, like what I've noticed about you is that like you are like you're 42 years old now. Are you also? I don't know if you're comfortable talking about this. Are you doing any type of like TRT or anything like that, like testosterone or anything like that?
yeah, so I use a testosterone supplement from it's from Genius brand. It's something I read about that it was highly researched, really good ingredients. So I do take that to try to help because, like you said, I'm in my 40s, man. At this point, I mean, I'm not getting younger. Um,
No.
so I think that helps a little bit. I think with that growth and just that extra boost of testosterone that we need for that. But it's funny you say that though because I did so there's an eVolt. So my gym, they do this eVolt body scan once a month. You're able to do this as part of your membership, and it scans your entire body. And this thing told me that my biological age, my health age, is 39. So doing something right. Seems to be
Yeah,
working.
well, it's probably just the whole fact that you switched your whole life around. I mean, you did a complete 180, didn't you? You
Oh
went from doing nothing to doing something literally every day.
no, absolutely. 180 my butt off the couch and ate better food and went to the gym. Yeah, yeah.
How long did that take for you to build up to like get into that routine? Was it like was that the hardest part of it? Was just getting that routine down and sticking to it, or was it deciding when to kind of like how you say just hit record and like make your content? Was it like actually doing it, or was it actually getting on that routine and setting a standard for yourself?
It was really a switch went off in my head, man. I always tell people like when you're trying to create new habits or when you're like if somebody decides that they need to stop using, I don't know, stop using tobacco or stop anything that somebody wants to change, right? You can listen to other people try to motivate you and tell you why you need to do that stuff, but until you get it in yourself that you need to change that for whatever reason, it's just likely not going to happen. So the switch went off for me because the VA put me on cholesterol medicine. Blood pressure was high, all kinds of stuff. Like I won't say that I was necessarily in danger. I mean, I guess I was close to like stroke level blood pressure, but it was that kind of stuff for me that really, like, once I knew that, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done because, you know, I'm only 41 at that point. I'm too young for this crap, so I'm changing this now. And after that, that switch flipped, and then it was instant.
I mean, I stopped chewing strictly for this because I didn't want to sound like Boomhauer with something in my mouth. So
Right.
I mean, I didn't do anything good for myself by switching to this stupid thing. But I do think that my dentist is probably happier. I mean, just with hygiene with the mouth, but like like you said, like you have to want to quit or want to do better yourself to actually get that ball rolling. But I think that what I would struggle with the most is just getting on that routine and fixing it into what I call my routine now. And that would be like either waking up a little bit earlier to get a workout in so that I could do the other stuff throughout the day, kind of like this, schedule that stuff a little bit later. Now,
Right.
would you say that, like, with your health benefits, did you notice a big change, like with your beard? Like, I mean, you, Dancy, and everybody else has, I mean, we all have beards that are in the beard community. Now, did you notice a change when you switched your health with your beard?
I definitely noticed, and I'll tell you why I noticed this. I noticed the rate of growth definitely increased, and I noticed a little bit more thickness and fullness. And I'm going to say that's a combination of all that testosterone being raised naturally by the workouts, and then I'm taking a supplement. But I think just the overall general health. And I'll tell you why I noticed that, because back in June, I went to a barbershop here locally. I work from home, but back in June, I had to travel to where my office is, which is in Ohio. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go get a beard trim. I'm gonna go have a pro beard trim done just to, you know, show up and look good. And I'm gonna go meet the president of the company. Like I want to, you know, this dude. He did not listen when I told him what I wanted. And my beard, he chopped half of it off, and I was like, good lord, it looked terrible. So I roll. I mean, I have no choice but to roll with it. But that was June, so that's what 4 months ago, and it's already like came back almost to where it was. I mean, I've noticed the rate of growth has really, really increased since getting better health. Drinking more water every day, because part of this, I'm drinking a gallon of water every day without fail. And I've noticed that definitely helps. So yeah, to answer your question, absolutely. It's made a huge difference.
And I've always wondered this too. Like, I mean, you moved to Wisconsin, right?
Wisconsin, yeah.
So I wonder if now I've always had this, I guess, opinion in my head is that people that live up farther north and people who live in those colder areas, I think that they also grow thicker beards. And Dan C, he lives in Michigan, which is like they still consider it the Midwest, and I don't know how. Still to this day, it's still bizarre to me. But he's literally at the pinpoint of where the Midwest ends, but he's in the northern part of that. Like his beard is like a Viking-esque, the way that it's growing out. I think
Right.
that those colder states also grow those thicker beards, just acclimate you for the weather that's either going to be coming or just strictly just to get used to that weather. Do you think that has anything to do with that scientifically?
You know, it's not something I've read a lot about, but I hope that's true because I've only had one winter here so far. If my beard gets thicker, that'll be awesome.
I think I think it says something because like if you look at people who are in Canada, Alaska, and all those northern areas where it's colder, like I've just noticed they just grow facial hair so much more better.
Oh yeah,
So
no,
I think that you'll be on that verge of being like, well, maybe this is also why it's growing. But I also think that testosterone has 90% of what happened for you.
yeah, there probably is some truth to that because I do think that our blood up here is also a little bit thicker and pumps a little faster because we can still go outside when it's -30 in a pair of shorts and a hoodie and we're okay. May only stay out there for about a minute and a half, but we can handle it for a minute.
Oh yeah, and I think colder weather. I mean those people that live in those colder weathers are much more determined individuals. Like the people that live in Boston, New York, and all those. Like they wake up and they have to deal with something first thing. Just like your workouts. Like they got to get up and shovel snow. I don't know if you've ever had to wake up bright and early in the morning or even before just to shovel snow, but that's not something I would look forward to by any means.
I think I've only done that about 25 times last winter. So yeah, yeah.
See, luckily we only had one bad, I guess, maybe 2 weeks in Kansas. So it's a total different ball game. And you're probably, you're right above, is that right above Minnesota, right?
Yeah, we're to the east of Minnesota. Yeah.
Okay. So Minnesota, like, is only 8 hours from here, I think, like the border is. So you're probably another 4 on top of that, right? So at least 12 minimum.
Yeah. Where are you at?
I'm an hour away from Wichita, Kansas.
Okay. So yeah, you're probably about right. Yeah. Me and my
I'm
brother-in-law
4 hours
drove
from Kansas City.
across. Yeah, we drove across Minnesota. Dude, this was crazy. Me and my brother-in-law about 2 months ago, he bought a new boat and he knew exactly what boat he wanted. So the only one that he could find though was in western Minnesota. So we left where I am in Wisconsin, which is closer, eastern Wisconsin, close to Lake Michigan. Drove all the way across Wisconsin, across Minnesota. It was 8 hours there. I think it was 8 hours. Picked up the boat, drove 8 hours back.
Just for the boat.
Just for the boat. It's important stuff.
Did you take it out right afterwards or what?
No, they so he had to get it registered and all that stuff. So no, not right after, but I think 2 weekends after, I think he had it out.
Well, at least he got his money's worth of that.
Oh yeah,
8 hours for a boat. I mean, that is just to own a boat is another one of those long-lived jobs in itself, I think.
yeah. No, and not only that, 8 hours one way. We left at midnight during tornadoes, or we had a freaking thunderstorm here with a bunch of tornadoes. So we left here then to go get it. We drove across like part of the roads we had to drive because we live in a small town in the middle of the woods. The roads we had to drive to get to the interstate, 2 of those were closed off. We had to turn around, take the long way to the interstate. I mean, it was a trip to get out that way. So we left at midnight, drove there. We got to the boat shop by 9 o'clock that morning. We're probably there for about 3 hours, and then turn and burn came right back. So,
oh man,
it was crazy.
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, that's that Packer mentality, I guess you could say. I don't know. You guys
Boats?
get to the games. You guys get to no, just you're determined to get what you want. So it's whether to get to the games. Have you been to a game since you moved in?
I have not been to a game yet. I've been up to Lambeau. I mean, a few times I've been up to Lambeau, but never to an actual game yet. Mel's been to several games.
So is that going to be on the plan or what?
Oh, absolutely.
Are you going to be going?
Absolutely.
I mean, how far away are you from Lambeau?
About an hour and a half.
I think you're the only legitimate Packers fan that I know, only because of where I live. I'm surrounded by Taylor Swift fans.
Swifties, yeah.
I mean, Chiefs fans, and that's getting too annoying for me at times. So I don't hate the Kansas City Chiefs. I just hate their fans. So
I'm convinced. I'm going to tell you what I'm convinced that this whole Taylor Swift thing. I think this is in the NFL script. That's a joke. I don't think the NFL scripted, but I do think the NFL needed ratings, right? The big game this past weekend should have been Aaron Rodgers versus Mahomes again, right? Aaron now with the Jets. Of course, Mahomes, great quarterback. I do think that was going to be a big thing for the NFL. And then, of course, we know Aaron Rodgers with his Achilles.
So they needed something else that's bigger.
Yeah, so I think Taylor Swift was that thing. Travis Kelce just happens to be the lucky guy, I guess.
Did you see that they had on their Twitter? They had Taylor Swift as their the NFL had Taylor Swift as their what do they call that on the background? Not the actual icon picture, but the
yeah, their cover photo or whatever.
Yeah, the cover photo. Like they had individual pictures of her, and I guess fans were complaining about it, so they took it down. Like millions of fans, they lost like 3 million people, 3 million followers or whatever.
It's
getting out of hand.
I'm telling you, Taylor Swift to the NFL, it was scripted, 100%.
Well, I think that I think her bringing the Swiftie fandom to the NFL helped them for sure, but I don't see how this is going to help the NFL at all.
You know what's so funny?
Oh, go ahead.
You know what's so funny about that whole thing is that you saw people on and I don't know how much of this was real or genuine or not, but you saw so many people that don't watch the NFL, but they're Swifties, right? And they're talking about, she went and made this guy's name is Travis Kelce. She's making this guy famous. Like, no, listen,
I saw that.
He was famous already.
The guy turned around. He's like, "Are you serious?" Yeah. His wife said that. Yeah, I saw that. That was funny. I mean, she's still always going to be bigger than Travis Kelce. Now, out of the Kelce brothers, I think Jason Kelce is my cup of tea over Travis. I mean, just his demeanor is much better than Travis's, in my opinion. Because I've hung around people like Travis Kelce, and they've never been my cup of tea. Like they're usually the reason why I leave, because they get either too loud or rambunctious.
Right.
But he could have done so much better than Taylor Swift. Like, come on, man. Go get some Lainey Wilson. Go get some Lainey Wilson.
Right. It was scripted. That's what the NFL The NFL paired them. That's how that happened.
I'm surprised it wasn't J-Lo. If she wasn't married, it would be J-Lo.
Right.
Or Demi Moore. One of those two.
Yeah, Taylor Swift's just the popular. But I know what you mean. Jason Kelce from them two guys. Jason Kelce is more of the family guy, right? Have you seen the video of him and his daughter? Jason Kelce was tucking his daughter into bed one night, and I guess his wife was probably filming this or whatever. But this was after the Super Bowl, I guess. And the daughter was like, Daddy, you lost. And he was like, yeah, but that's okay. Uncle Travie won. We're happy for Uncle Travie. And she's like, yeah, we're happy for Uncle Travie. So he's like the family guy.
One. Oh, yeah. I saw that one. And then the one where have you seen the one where he's covering his daughters in the giant trash cans?
No, I've not seen that.
Oh, yeah. I think it's training camp, but he's covering. Have you seen the documentary of him, Kelce?
No.
I've got even that much more respect for Jason Kelce. I mean, he's worried about what other I guess players have nothing to really talk about. Like they're not really talking about it because they don't think it could happen to them. But that's the first thing he talks about is like the concussions and stuff like that. And that's really why he was contemplating retirement, is that he wants to be there for his kids when they get older. He wants to be able to walk them down the aisle. I mean, he's got 3 daughters. He's a girl dad. I mean,
right.
So you can definitely see why he wants to worry about that. But I think this could probably be his last season, especially if he doesn't win. I think that he might call it quits, but I think it's probably the best for him. I mean, he's a center, so he gets hit more than any other lineman that's on the line, probably.
Right, every 40 seconds. Yeah.
So, I mean, and he's probably the most athletic lineman that we've seen in our day. I mean, I don't know if you've seen, have you seen the movie called Greater?
No.
It's like one of those, I guess, churchy type, not churchy, but it was like, I think filmed by the same people that did like, what was it other, facing the Giants and stuff like that.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't remember the guy's name, but yeah, that church that does those movies.
But none of those people are in it. It's got the guy from rugby. It's a rugby movie where him and his son, the dad's the coach, and the son gets in trouble. He gets sent off to like this boys camp, and it turns out that his dad was actually at this same team. You know what I'm talking about? They do that.
I don't know. Apparently, I haven't seen
Indian War Chant. Oh man, I like sports movies, but I watched this movie called Greater, and I knew nothing about it. Like Arkansas's offensive guard or something like that. Pretty good movie. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend watching it just for the I didn't know anything about this guy, and it happened back in the 90s, like late 90s. So it's a pretty good movie.
You said Arkansas. Is this the one where he was a walk-on for the team? Yep. And he was kind of overweight, and they picked on him. And
yeah, I mean, it was the coach had told him when he first went up there for an unofficial visit that he was too small and he would never play in the SEC. So he's like, okay. So then he went from like 270 to like 364 pounds in a matter of like 8 months.
Right.
So he did it very unhealthily, but he was a walk-on, and then the coach started working with him. It's a great movie. I mean, for the budget that it was and the people that are in it, I enjoyed it.
I'm going to look it up because if it's what I think you're talking about, I've seen clips of it on TikTok.
It's pretty good. Like you see him, he said that's going to be me one day while he's eating chips, and his brother calls him cheesecake.
Yeah, I need to look this up. It sounds like my kind of movie. Yeah, I love sports movies too. What's your favorite sports movie ever?
See, that's a trick question. So, like, for different reasons, football movies have always came close for me being a part of that. Wrestling movies for sure. But I would say that it's an old 80s movie, and I always forget it. It's where his dad wants to come and watch him wrestle. And he said, let me look it up. I always forget it. It's a long movie, but it was made back in the 80s. You might and there's a clip on TikTok from it too.
Oh, okay. Mine's older too, but I will let you look that up. Mine's an older movie also. Mine is Brian's Song.
The original one, huh?
Yeah. I almost hate to say that as a Packers fan, but because it's about the Bears, but it's such a great movie, man. That's one movie that I'll tell you, that movie I cried a little bit. That one I did.
It's definitely sad. Vision Quest.
I'm gonna write that one down too.
Like I wouldn't say that I got teary-eyed, but just like the things that he says in it. The dad, like he asked his dad, like in one of the scenes, he's like, "Why are you gonna cut work and come watch me wrestle?" and he says he just sat down and watched something on the TV about who was that big soccer player back in the 80s that like not Pompey or
Pele?
yeah, Pele. He said I watched this guy do a complete backflip, and while he was up in the air, he kicked a ball into a net. And he said nobody in the history, like you're going to watch sports for the moment, not for who's in that moment.
Right.
He said, yes, you're my son, but you're a great wrestler. I'm going to come watch you for this. And like he goes on the spiel, and it just gives you goosebumps. It's very Remember the Titans like.
Okay. I'll
Right?
have to look that one up too.
It's an older one for sure, but I mean, there's so many. Like, there's a reason sports movies never get rated number one, and they just make too many of them. But there are good sports movies. Like, I really dig The Program. I think that was like 1995. Like, I would watch that to get pumped up before football.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Rocky was always great. I'm not a big Creed fan though. I think they've overdone it.
It's funny. I have refused to watch the Creed movies because I'm with you. I think Rocky should have stopped. Honestly, at Rocky 4. I thought Rocky 5 was not.
Rocky 5 was. I take that. No, you can't say that because Balboa was awesome. Balboa was pretty good.
I did see Balboa. Balboa was the one where he comes back to train his son, right?
No, he comes back. He's a restaurant owner of. His restaurant name is Adrian's, and he's an Italian restaurant owner. And what he does in his restaurant, fans come to his restaurant to try his food. That he has like other boxers that that he boxed back in the day. Like, you remember in the very first Rocky, the guy that he beat barely, Spider. That's what they call him, I think.
Right.
Yeah, he has people like him working for him in this restaurant, and what he does is he lets fans come in and ask questions, and he tells stories to like different tables and stuff like that. It's a totally underrated Rocky movie.
Maybe I didn't see it then.
Yeah, it's kind of like if Mike Tyson was called out by what Floyd Mayweather. It's imagine that, but Rocky.
Okay. Now wait a minute. Did he fight in that movie?
He did fight in that movie. That's the one that you see the movie clips of. Like, it doesn't matter how hard you get hit; it's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. He doesn't train his son; he is training himself because he has something deep down in the basement that he needs to get out. Right. And that's the last time that you see Rocky fight.
I need to watch it again.
It's so good.
I do remember this now, but I don't remember it enough. Apparently, I didn't watch it close enough.
I enjoyed it just because it was almost the first, I guess, remake that they actually did well. Like, I hate remake movies. Like, don't remake something that did great.
Right.
And in my opinion, I will say this, and I will say it proudly: the second Top Gun was better than the original.
Was it? I haven't seen it.
I don't like the whole love story thing, like with Top Gun, what they did with it. So that's why I really enjoy this one, because they focused on the relationship with Goose and his son, and that's what I like.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
Have you not seen that?
I don't know.
It's on Amazon, man. Come on, man. Well, you can do this while you're biking or something.
I could do this after we're done here, right? I can go watch it.
No, yeah, I wouldn't say that. I would say watch it during a workout to get you motivated. Like, there's some scenes in that movie that get you like pumped. Like, Tom Cruise is hands down the best Hollywood actor we've ever seen. Nothing's ever going to top. And he's paid how much he's paid for reasons, and you can't argue why. Like, he does his own stunts. He's very dedicated to what he does, kind of like with you do with fitness and stuff like that. And you really have to give respect to that, in my opinion. Because if you don't give respect to those people, we won't have anybody else like it.
Yeah,
and that's where I think that people that talk bad about people who demand more of people who work for them. I mean, that's what builds character, in my opinion. Like, if it wasn't for my coaches talking down on me when I did something wrong, I wouldn't have ever corrected myself.
Yep.
I wouldn't have ever strived to do better. And that's where I think that I feel bad about kids that are growing up in today's day and age. They're not given that challenge in life, so they're going to always expect to succeed even though they didn't do good.
Yep.
Like, I don't know if you see that with your kids. I don't have kids, but I couldn't imagine growing up in today's day and trying to, I guess, like, the percentage of people who go to the NFL from college or from high school even is less than 0.5%. So I couldn't imagine what it is now. I mean, you have to be good at something to get somewhere. And if you're not good and nobody's challenging you on something you're doing wrong, then how do you ever expect to be any better than what you were yesterday?
Yeah. No, I'm with you 100% with my kids. I mean, the thing that I'm even a little more big on with my kids is that you have to work for what you want, right? Nothing in this world is free. Nothing in this life is free. anything that's worth it, you got to work for. So my daughter, 14 years old, she just started her first job 2 weeks ago. She's at a pumpkin farm picking pumpkins. Easy job, but she's out there doing the hard work, man, lifting pumpkins up onto a wagon.
I wouldn't say that's easy for how old is she?
She's 14.
14? I mean, that's not easy. Picking pumpkins, depending upon how big that pumpkin is.
Yeah. I mean, so what I mean, it's easy as in what you're doing. It's repetitive, like you're just picking pumpkins up.
Yeah.
But you're right, as far as the physical part of it. I mean, these pumpkins are, I don't know how much a pumpkin weighs, but you're doing this over and over and over and loading them up on this trailer. Yeah.
And that's probably why I quit some of my jobs, is because it was too repetitive and I knew what I was coming into every day. And that's the only downfall I would say about those types of jobs. But if I didn't have those jobs, I wouldn't know what I would want to be good at.
Right.
If I knew I didn't want to pick pumpkins my entire life, I wouldn't know that I would want, I never saw myself working where I'm working by any means. But my job is probably the best job you can have in the field of corrections. Like, I actually get to see the good side of corrections, I guess, if there is a good side of corrections. I mean, I don't know if you know what I do, but I organize all the if you were to think about this job in your head, it would be an athletic director for the prison. So I organize all the intramural sports. You have to have a job to do intramural sports, so I have to be the one to check that, kind of like with grades. So if you have a DR or a disciplinary report and I think that you shouldn't play, then I can hold you back.
Okay.
But
yeah, no, that is
people
awesome.
that are, that's if we didn't have athletics, they would find something else to do. So my job is to find something positive for them to do rather than lash out at other staff.
Probably goes a long way towards that rehabilitation, right?
I think athletics is probably the biggest rehabilitation I think we have in corrections, whether or not somebody wants to admit it or not.
Yeah.
But the first thing is I think to get the individual to realize whatever it is that they did was wrong. Like, if you can't do that, then you're not going to go anywhere down the road with them.
Right.
And that's the nature of the beast with the human being. If you can't get them to actually think about what they did, then I think they're at a lost cause at that point.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you 100%. Then after that, that's when you have to actually start building the character up. I mean, you either have to point out what they're doing that is wrong. I mean, yeah, we're not supposed to be negative, but me being in my area, I've got enough rapport and respect from some of the guys that I can actually point out, dude, you're slacking ass. Pick it up. I mean, I can actually say that and they don't get offended by it.
Right.
Now, I might have one of those people.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think people need to know that what they did wrong is wrong, right? I won't go into details, but I've got a family member who has been in prison for the last, good Lord, 7 years at this point, 6 or 7 years. Did something, not the worst thing she could have done, but did something very, she deserves to be where she's at and she knows it. She's close to getting out, but, I think if she doesn't know that what she did was wrong, then she's just going to probably repeat it or do something to get herself back in a similar situation. So there has to be that accountability. And yeah, I know what I did was messed up and I can't ever do that again.
And I think that what you can actually say, instead of saying messed up, you were unproductive. Like, you weren't being productive in today's society. And to be productive, you have to figure out what you're good at. You have to figure out what you have a passion for, other than breaking the law, of course. So,
right.
Well, why don't we stop talking about me and get back to you? I need to get back to your Kensconsin thing. Like, you've went from Bluegrass Bearded, content coach. Now, did you have your name changed to the True Crime? Was it True Crime Ken or something like that? Or
no, it was. So I was Kensconsin on that also. Kensconsin was just something I came up with just for that platform. And then it's funny when I came back. So I missed the beard stuff. And so when I came back, I didn't want to change my name again because I already changed my name so many times. It's ridiculous. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave it like this. And Bluegrass Bearded wouldn't have worked anyway because I'm no longer in Kentucky, and that's really what that's from.
Like bluegrass.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just stuck with Kensconsin. So, but yeah, during the True Crime days, that's what it was.
Okay. So what, you missed the beard content, not just the reviews, but also the camaraderie between the group is what I'm thinking. Now, did somebody reach out to you and say, hey, man, I wish you were back?
I had people always that said that kind of stuff to me. I mean, dude, because you're around the people in the beard community that 99% are amazing people. The live stream, the chats are awesome. It's just a fun thing to be a part of. So many good people. So definitely missed that. I'd say probably more than anything. And there were some people that, you know, even over those couple of years, it was 18 months that I was not doing beard stuff, but I was still in close contact. I was hanging out in some live chats still and still chatting with some people every day. And yeah, I missed all of that.
I mean, I missed mainly I guess, probably like I love confrontation, not like me like badgering somebody, but like if somebody wants to lash out and talk smack either to me or to somebody that I care about or whatever it is, like I've got no problem. Like I'm quick-witted enough to be able to come back at something at them.
Right.
But in the beard game, like we have that. I mean, you have that on every channel. You had somebody either talking smack about this person or talking smack about that person, and that's really where I kind of fell out of it. I was like, I'm done with this. I was like,
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
really where I stopped following a lot of people, and that's the nature of the beast in everywhere you go with content creation. Like what I got from it is that people were kind of upset that some people were at the top of their game versus I'm just getting started and I only have 500 followers.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, part of the reason why I did go off and do other things was for the same reasons. It's just a lot of that stuff going on, and it's just not what I'm about. Um, I'm like you,
Not behind
like
a
I
keyboard,
like,
not behind a keyboard. Like
yeah,
I'm not going to mess with that behind a keyboard. I'm going to straight up tell you how it is, and
yeah,
that's
yeah,
how I've always been.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I won't speculate on why people are the way they are. But I think you're right. I think there's some of that.
Oh, I wasn't asking. I don't want you to ever tell me something that like. I just know that that is one of the things of what I've noticed, not just with you, but every person that actually has success in whatever they do on YouTube or Facebook or whatever it is. You have people call them trolls. I'm not going to call them a troll because that's what they want to be.
Right.
I'm going to call you just pointless. Like you're speaking out of context. Like nobody's responding to you. So why do you keep talking? Like you're not getting what you want. And the people that do give them what they want are just the equivalent of them, whether they make a video about them or something they said. It's like, why are you wasting your time when you could have made a different video?
Yeah.
Like you could have made that 30-minute video about why this product is better than that and got way more reviews. Nobody wants to sit here and listen to your piss party. That's all I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
that's why I
No.
was like,
Absolutely.
it's like just quit. Just you're feeding the beast is all you're doing, and that's really where I kind of stopped listening to like certain, not even big channels. Even like that was the crazy thing. I like one person that I would say was consistent with the way he was across the line. Now he wasn't in and out of the game very long. Was Beard Swag. He is one like I love that man to death. That dude is the nicest guy.
Mike's amazing.
And I hope to have him on. I reached out to him, but like he is one guy that I could say like I could watch anything that he does. He could burn toast, and I would probably watch it.
Right. Yeah, he does close to that doing the barbecue stuff. Yeah.
I love his barbecue stuff. I love his just the way that he's very Jason Kelsey-esque. Like he's family oriented. He's just he doesn't waste his time making a video just to prove a point. Like no, he wants to create something that like he hopes other people are going to like, and that's the goal. Your ideal job to be a content creator is to create something that not only that you like, but somebody might love.
Absolutely.
Or you love and somebody else might like. And that's where I think that the beard game kind of, or the beard group or the beard family that you would, that we all call it is it's too much of that whole one up type group sometimes. And that's the only thing that I could see it ever like falling down into. The community might not be there within 15, 20 years, but I think Dan is doing a great job. You're doing a great job. And if we had more people like that coming into that group, then it'll never go away.
Yeah. I'd say the biggest thing that changed with me from going out of the community for a little bit, doing some other things, and then coming back is that while I was gone, realizing how much I missed doing this stuff, I don't see any of that stuff now. I don't. And the stuff to me is blocked out. I don't see any of that. I'm here to have fun and help where I can and just hang out, and all the stuff that we're talking about, I don't see it. And if I hear about it, it really doesn't bother me. If it distracts from my goals, I don't care.
Right. I don't hear it anymore because I just don't pay attention to it. Like if I see like the title of a video on somebody's channel saying this, this, and this, well, I'm not watching that video. I'm not going to waste my time if you're going to waste your time to create a video that has anything to do with that because it's pointless.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
You've literally wasted your whole goal.
You wasted a video, yeah, for sure. You wasted content time to do that. Yeah. Going back to Mike, yeah, amazing dude. Mike is somebody that we talk a lot. I mean, we have each other's phone numbers. We're really close. Mike is such an amazing guy, and he's hinted at coming back. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, and that's when I reached out to him, was like the day before he said that. So I was like, whoa. And it was like, I think I reached out to him right after he got back from one of his trips. Like, he went on a camping trip, and I reached out to him, and I saw that. And then he did a live stream on Instagram, and he was doing a box opening for T3 Beard, I think.
Right.
He makes him kill it. Him and his collabs that he does. I love 2 of your collabs that I know for sure I still have, but his collabs are like, they got that oud in it, and it's strong.
He likes that oud stink. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, leather and oud, I think, pair up very well together as long as you use the right oud. But you can't go wrong with either one of the, like, I would say my favorite one from yours is either, I would say, Bluegrass Trails from
Copper Johns.
And then you had another one. There was Ruddy Man. Ruddy Man's probably still my favorite that you've done.
Derby Day. Yeah.
Derby, yeah.
Got both
I didn't
of those
try
still
the prize
back
pie.
here.
I haven't tried the prize pie, and that's the one your wife came up with, right? With her?
No, hers was Cookie Queen.
Oh, Cookie. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, who's prize pie? Why did I say prize pie?
I don't know. Is Prize Pie a collab?
Maybe, I don't know. It just sounded right because your wife bakes.
Yeah. No, Cookie Queen.
That's what it was.
The other baking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was strawberry
all I know
cookies.
is that. Yeah. All I know is that, like, that one really hit the. It wasn't too much leather for anybody that doesn't like leather, but it was like the right type of leather for like what they were going for, and that's what I liked about it. Like, it was like a weathered type leather. It wasn't just like your brand new like car leather.
Right.
If that makes sense.
And the other stuff that was in there with it complemented it really well. So it had the rose. So the entire idea of it, right, was the Kentucky Derby. So it was the leather saddles, the rose garland, mint julep.
Are you going to change the name, or do they still have it?
No, he doesn't have it anymore, but there may be another one in the works. There may be. I can neither confirm nor deny that.
Hot take. But hey, no, but yeah, I loved everything that you have. I don't know if I've tried any other ones that you had. You've had that one. Those 2 I know I bought. Now, I don't know do you have any other collabs?
So Weatherbeard, we had Bluegrass Bay. That was a lemon lime fizz, birchwood oud leather.
I have a couple weathered. I think wasn't that like your first live stream?
Corey was my first live stream. Yeah.
Okay.
You got a good memory, man.
I try my best. Like, I stick with the people that I appreciate, and that's really why I had this. I would rather talk to you face to face. If we can't be in the same town, I would rather talk to you like this than over chat.
Right.
But I've sent messages to tons of people, even outside of like the chat, just to say, hey man, I love this or I love that. Now, I think that this is something that I appreciate more just because I'm working on, I guess, my person skills. And like, it's only going to, like, when I first promoted to my job after my boss retired, I too had to get on blood pressure pills because I wasn't stressed out. I was just overworking myself.
Yeah.
I've never been depressed, and I don't know what that's like. So I couldn't imagine feeling like that. But this, I could see like it's just my extracurricular to, I guess, the opposite of what we see on YouTube, of those extracurricular videos being made about people that either didn't like the way somebody said something or they took it the wrong way or whatever. And that's why I appreciate this, because I'm getting the full side of things. Like, if I really wanted to ask questions to somebody, like I don't know what happened between you and other places. I saw your post about it, but it's not my room to ask those questions because it's not hurting me at all. Because I've seen I'm not gonna deny that I don't see things, but I'm just saying, like, I don't have any reason to ask those things. So I want to highlight those positive things that we do, and those positive people that are actually making the content. That's what I want to hear about. I want to hear about why you do certain things, like with your content. So like your content coaching, I would rather hear about, like, how did you go about building your TikTok up? Like, that's the stuff that I want to know.
Yeah.
Not why you had a falling out with somebody.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely, and I very rarely will you ever see something like that on my platform. There was a time where I posted one story, mainly just to squash a very terrible rumor. But other than that, yeah, you will never see that kind of stuff on my platform. I don't
That's the
have
only
any
time I
reason.
ever saw it, and I just was like, I'm not even gonna like. I don't even think I tuned into that one because it had nothing to do with me. It was something you had to get off with other people that were worried about it, and that's just something I just refused to tune into. Like, cause it's really not anything that I was paying attention to because I don't even know what the rumor was.
Yeah.
So
Are
that's
you
why
talking
I was
about
like,
are you talking about a live stream or a post?
I don't know. I think you were going to be doing a live stream and you were going to set the record straight for the one last time and get everything off the table and no more questions were going to be asked about it is what you had posted, right?
Yes. So I know what you're talking about. That was a couple of years ago. That was the first and last time I've ever done something like that because exactly like you just said, at the end of the day, it's pointless.
Yeah, it's a waste of your
Yeah.
time when you could have
Yep.
made like a 2-hour video versus a hour and 20-minute live stream.
Yeah.
Over what? The past?
Exactly.
Like you can't fix it. Even if it was true or wasn't true, what are you going to do about it?
For sure, man. And I learned that the hard way through that. Yeah. It was
Well, I don't even know how
absolutely
it
a
went.
waste.
I'm assuming by the way that you're talking, it didn't go as good as you thought it was going to go, or the people that showed up were not as interested in that as you were, probably, to set the record straight. And they
Yeah,
just
I
wanted
mean, here's the thing, generally speaking, right? When it comes to content creation, whether you're talking about beards or, podcasting or, name a community, right? You got the fragrance community, you got soaps, you got the crafts community, whatever community you're talking about, food, anything. People are here to watch content on that niche. They're not here to hear about the drama that you had between, you and somebody else or what these two people
That's what
have
the
going
view's
on
for.
behind the scenes. Nobody cares. People are here to see the content that they are signed up to see. And that's what
Right.
our job is deliver that content, not, anything else. So, yeah, those kind of things you're talking about that I have very few times been involved in, that's something you will never see again. Learn that, yeah.
See, this is where we need John, the Flying Beardsman, because he had that sense of humor that he would have taken a video, made a video about, like, I don't know if you've ever seen The View. Have you?
The View.
Yeah, you've heard of
I
it,
know,
right?
I know what it is. I can't say
It's
I've
like
ever
a
sat and
gossip
watched
channel.
it. Yeah,
Well, it's like a gossip video or gossip station or whatever it is.
Yeah, I
but
see
he would
clips
have
and
been the guy
highlights.
to take that. He would have been a guy to take that. Like one of my favorite videos he ever did, and I'm not trying to highlight just him, but the way that he would do the fill-in beard. Do you remember that video that he did? It was like a short clip that he would do.
He
goes,
did. I probably do. He did so many of those.
Fill-in beard?
Yeah. Dude, his
Just
short
those
videos he did
things.
like that were hilarious. I loved them.
Oh, he was a comedian without trying to be. Like that's what I enjoyed about his comedy.
Yeah.
And he was another one that he never really had that whole high school drama stuff on his channel.
Right.
At least that I never saw anyway. But
right.
Like we need more of the content rather than the content criticism. Like that's what I would rather see.
Absolutely.
But let me get to a question that I had for you about the content creation because you still have time. I mean, we're an hour in, so. But when you did the content coach, what was the hardest thing for you to actually plan out? Like, if somebody came to you at a question, like, did you research that before you gave them an answer, or were you always trying to keep up on everything about like video editing or audio editing and stuff like that? What was your biggest struggle by keeping that going?
So I don't know if I call it a struggle, but I mean, man, I would say it would be. So I did some TikTok consultations, right? I would look at somebody's TikTok account and give them advice for how to grow their account, and TikTok specifically because I don't know why it ever turned out this way, but TikTok is that platform where people will they'll create a TikTok account and they will start duetting and just creating videos that everybody else is doing and expect for that to be the way for them to grow. And some people do grow like that, but that is not like you even on TikTok, you still have to find a way to be, unique, different than everybody else to get the masses interested in your content, right? And so I would do TikTok consults with people and we would schedule it out. They would schedule them, 3 days before, 3 days out was the latest or the earliest I would allow somebody to schedule that. And that gave me some time to go look at their account. I'd look at their videos, how many videos they have, what their average engagement is. I'd look at their bio, their profile photo, take a sampling of what is the main content that you're trying to do? Like, what do I think that your niche is? What do I think that it is the content that you're trying to be known for, right? I would study that, and then we would sit down for our consult. It was an hour, and then I would use, what I looked over and what I determined to try to tell them, okay, so really this is what you want to do. We'd start with the bio, like you need to do this with your bio. Your bio should say something more like this, so that when people come to your page, they can tell just by looking at that really quickly what it is they could be deciding to follow. If your content is, if this is what you're doing, here's some suggestions I have for you. So I would say that was the most time consuming, because I would literally study their account. Almost every video, depending on how many videos they had. I mean, I had a few that had like thousands of videos already. I didn't go through all those, but for the most part, I would try to go through as many videos as possible. So I'd say that for sure would be the most time consuming.
So you actually went to being not just a content coach, you were like breaking things down like a football coach would break down like why this play didn't work or why this play did work.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because I remember watching a couple of your live streams with you had one guy on there that I really liked about the lighting. Like I couldn't get lighting down for nothing, and I think I watched that one thinking I would get something out of it. I still couldn't get it, so I just winged it. And my first few like clips that I made were just terrible. Like, and I had like that Brio. It was a 4K camera. I forgot what it was. It was a webcam.
Yeah, Brio 4K. Yeah, Logitech.
Yeah, like that didn't help nothing. Like the name in it is what sells it, not what it actually can do. Because I still have the camera and it works for like if I want to do in studio type stuff or in the same area.
Right.
But like that's the things that I would like if I was going to look for content. Like the people that I go to, like when you were doing all those people that were coming on live, I would tune into those while I was driving around. Like I would take my grandpa shopping every Monday, and that's usually when you were doing it between 6 and 7, I think, right?
Yep.
And that's when I would tune in, and I watched that one with the lighting guy. I forgot his name, but he's got a pretty big channel, and he flies around the country to set people up for content, right?
Yeah, you're talking about yeah. What's his? I'm terrible with names right now.
He was great with like the way that he explained certain things, but like if you don't have the right lights, you're not going to get that effect on your camera.
Yeah.
Like,
so this guy's a professional. He's a professional videographer. Like he owns a company that he goes around and makes videos for companies. That's what this guy does. He'll set up like 3-day long content sessions, and they'll create enough content for this company to do their thing for like 6 months to a year. They have all the content they need, and he does it in 3 days. Yeah.
And the way that he explained it, it made sense. But if you don't have either the right camera or the right lighting, you're not going to get that effect. And I didn't get that. Like mentally, I couldn't actually like put that together for some reason. But like, if you like, what I was going for was that blurred background, how you've got it. Like, if you don't have that type of camera, you're not going to get it. No matter what type of lighting or what type of computer graphics you have, you're not going to get that blur.
Right. Yeah, it really
like
comes down to your lens. Right? Yeah.
What's that? A mirrorless camera? Is that a mirrorless camera?
Yeah, so it's the Sony ZV-E10 is what I use, and I have the Sigma 16 lens, which the lens itself is like $800. It's ridiculous, but the lens is really what makes the difference in that camera for sure. But lighting, I always told people, film with your iPhone. I mean, use your phone. If you have the right lighting, you can make almost any camera work great. You can use a laptop camera, right. You can use your iPhone, whatever you got. If the lighting works, then it's going to make any camera look better.
Yeah, and that's what I've learned about I don't have Apple anything anymore. Just I fell off the Apple wagon back when 4 came out. But I have the new Samsung S23. That camera it's almost too powerful for me. It's just like that Sony that you have. If you don't know how to use the stuff on it, you're not going to get what you need out of it.
I'm not going to let my wife hear this part of the show because she always talks about her Samsung camera.
It is amazing.
It is. It really is.
That's what Samsung has over Apple, and I think that they will always have that. Apple will have their security and their proprietary parts like forever, but right. Samsung will always have the camera. Like, if you were just doing content creation, I bet you could get away with making all your content. I mean, they filmed Hollywood movies with this thing, and that's what's crazy. Like, Apple has the perks of the security thing, and if you have Apple everything, you're going to have everything perfect. Like, that's the one thing that I would give Apple credit for. But other than that, I didn't have any good experience with it. Like, I had to reset my entire phone. That's the main reason I will never go back to Apple. I had to plug it into a computer, and it was my buddy's computer, and I was downloading music onto it. Once I did that, I didn't realize that if I plugged it into another computer, I had to reset it. And this was back when iPhone 4 came out, And when I reset it, nothing backed up into the cloud like it said it was going to do. So I lost literally everything. And back then I was still doing like college courses. I lost like 7
Oh
papers on
man,
it.
dude.
I was not happy.
That sounds painful. You know the one thing that keeps me. So I will say I don't know this to be the case yet, but supposedly iPhone 15 the camera is like way improved. I don't have it yet. We'll see. But the one thing that keeps me with Apple is AirDrop.
That's another thing I wish that Samsung would get, was something like AirDrop.
Yeah.
That is legit. It's almost like Dropbox. You got to go through too many loops and stuff like that to get that to work right.
Yeah, dude, AirDrop. I mean, I use obviously the camera I have here for actually filming my videos, but when it comes to like thumbnail photos and product photos and stuff, I'll take the picture with my iPhone, AirDrop it, bring it into Canva, and I'm done.
And that's what I like about, I have Adobe Express for like audio editing and stuff like that. I've got this app that I've been using to make some of my thumbnails, and I don't know what it's called. It's like Adobe. I'm assuming it's going to be kind of like what you use. What do you use to edit your thumbnails?
I use Canva.
Okay, Canva.
Yeah.
And I use that for like borders and backgrounds and stuff like that. But
right.
There's an app on here that I get. Adobe Express is the actual app that I have. Adobe. What's that big one that has everything on it? The monthly subscription thing.
Yeah, Adobe. Yeah, so I have the PDF for like contracts and stuff, but yeah, it's my Adobe account. I don't know exactly what they call it. It should be
something big. It's like Adobe. It's everything in one. But I have that. But the Adobe Express, like that thing makes some really good thumbnails. I've tried PixArt. It doesn't do what I want it to do sometimes. And that's where I have a problem.
So I don't know if it's Adobe Creative. I don't know. I've never paid attention to
Creative Cloud. That's what it is.
Creative Cloud. Yeah. Okay.
Creative Cloud. Yeah. I have it and I use it for like the, I was doing Illustrator for a little bit because, like when you were doing my logo, I kind of wanted to get into that a little bit, but it is so time consuming.
Right.
Do you still do that? I mean, for those that are listening, you did my very first logo I ever had, and I asked probably the world of it, probably way too much. Because I remember you telling me that you reached out to, or you were thinking about reaching out to a third party to help with it.
Yeah.
And I felt bad. I was like, oh, dude, don't do that.
No. So to answer your question, no, I don't do it anymore. That's one thing that I cut out just for time purposes. You know, I'm one of those people, man. I will overstretch myself because I like to do so much. I will overstretch myself, and especially now going to the gym and trying to make sure that I get to bed at a decent time. There's just certain things that I had to cut out, and that's one of them. I don't do that anymore. So, but I did have fun with it.
Oh wow. My bad. But no, what I've learned is that whenever you're doing content, like I've fallen short of this many times, and that's over editing or over taking too much time for one thing that you could probably live without. And that aspect for podcasting, like I don't believe YouTube is a platform for podcast in general, unless you have a bigger platform already. So like if you're a famous comedian, or if you're a famous, like Joe Rogan, like he could make anything work, right? But then you have like people who just podcast. So like you have the Burt Kreischer podcasts and all those. They are big not because of their podcast. They're big because of the stuff they already do. Now their podcast benefits on YouTube just because they have fans, but I think that YouTube is mainly for like the short clips, not for the full episode. That's in my opinion. What is your take on that?
Yeah, so it's been a back and forth conversation on, is YouTube a podcast platform? I think the lines between podcasting and live streaming have sort of crossed a little bit, and that's okay. There are people that do their podcast strictly on YouTube, and then there's people that don't do it at all on YouTube. There's people that would call what I do podcasting, and it's not. I'm not podcasting like you are. So there's definitely a line. Some lines have crossed with that. I think that call it what you want, getting these conversations out there, or the conversations that people have, or the things they talk about. I think however they get that out there is great, because I've always said I think everybody has a reason to create content and get your story out there, no matter what medium you're putting that out there on. But to answer your question, no, I think that look, I'm a traditionalist about so much stuff in my life, and one of those for me I've always struggled with is YouTube and podcasting. I think they're still two different things, and they both have their place and their reasons for existing. They're both fantastic, but I do think they're different.
And I mean, right now we agree with this, and this is where I will say that YouTube isn't for podcast. I mean, it is for certain aspects of podcasting, but it's not a podcasting platform. The reason why I say that is there's no category for podcasts. Like, yeah, you can put a podcast on there, but if it was for podcasting, they have categories for comedy, lifestyle, travel. There's several different ones, but there's never any on there for podcasting. And that's the only way that you're going to actually make it for podcasting is if you make a category for it, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And YouTube did add, you can create like a podcast playlist now.
Right.
But it still does not actually create a separate segment. So if I go to YouTube and search for podcast, true, if you have that in your title or something, then I'll probably come across it, but there's no straight up podcasting section. Like if I open Pandora, for example, you can find podcast specific things on Pandora. If I go to obviously Apple Podcast or Spotify, you can find podcast specific, but that still does not exist on YouTube, even though they created a podcast playlist on my channel.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's really where I find that to be the line where, like, I'm not trying to get big enough to where, like, I'm getting all these followers, because then it becomes a full-time job. I'm trying to just really have fun with it. And me and my buddies, we have I don't know if you've seen any of this, of the Recess Ruckus podcast, but that's how it started, was that. And my chubby buddies group, like, that's just a daily thing that we just get together for, is like a mental health segment for them. And then me, I just enjoy hanging out. We literally lived less than a block away from each other for the first 13 years of our life. And then we move our separate ways. We all live 4 different hours in all directions. So we missed that hang, and that's really where we kind of wanted to go with that. Like, that's all I'm going for. Now, if it ever blew up, then I might think about, like, because I'm the only one that does the social media for anything. I'm the only one that does the editing. So that in itself is a full-time job.
Right.
That's where I struggle with, is like finding or saying enough is enough, kind of like over editing. Like, I can't fix everybody's audio, especially when my buddy decides to wear AirPods for the episode. It's like, dude, you've made my day a lot harder. But this Riverside app that I'm using is crazy awesome. It actually makes it sound like we're in the same room. Now, I have a fairly good mic, but neither of my other two buddies have that good of a mic, so I've always got to edit something. But Riverside does 99% of it.
That's good. That's
so
helpful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that's the main reason why I switched from StreamYard to this, is that this is more for podcasting. StreamYard is for live streaming. That's the biggest difference. So, and that's why I think that, like, with me, I would over edit, and that would waste most of my time editing. Like, I was going from an hour and a half video to almost a whole day of editing. And then when I switched to this, I was going to an hour and a half video to 3 hours, and now I'm down to about an hour and a half.
Right. So yeah, I'm kind of the same way. My typical YouTube video will take me for a 10-minute video. I'll record 30 minutes of video. Now, some of that is just where I've kind of stopped for a second, looked at my notes and kind of regather my thoughts, and then I come back and I talk about the next part of the video. But I'll spend 30 minutes actually filming something, and then I'll spend 3 or 4 hours editing. So I get it, man.
And my other thing is that I didn't get that, like, to get the editing process down, you need to have an off-board camera to really record and bring everything in separately, and then record or then edit. So I was trying to do what I couldn't do with the editing process. And a lot of people, like, you can't find everything on YouTube. That's just how it is. Like, you're not going to find everything on YouTube. Now, one thing that I wish I did see for, like, content, like editing or post-production or anything like that, is the hookups of audio. Like, if you don't have a Rodecaster Pro, or if you don't have a mix board or anything like that, you need to know how to make your sound better. And there's not really many good videos to describe how to actually make that work. If that makes sense.
Are you talking like audio post-production?
That, and also like hooking up to this. Like, say that I didn't have this microphone and I had just like a USB mic.
Right.
The USB mic is going to sound significantly different than how I'm sounding. I think you have the same mic I do, right? The pod mic?
It's the Rode pod mic, yeah.
Yeah. And that's what this is. And I just have I don't know if you're familiar with it, the Moana caster. I've had that I got it on Amazon Prime Day.
Yeah, I've
Like
seen
3
that, but I
years
don't know.
ago.
I don't know anything about it. I've never used one.
It does what I need it to do, but if I wanted to have somebody in here, I can't hook up more than one XLR mic, and then the USB mic, or no, it's an auxiliary mic, is what I need to have to actually get it to work with that mic. If I don't have that, then the sound when I'm talking, it feeds into that mic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like when I'm talking like this, and that's the downfall. Like they don't really go over that on YouTube, and that's something that I wish that I knew before I really got into this podcasting game, if you would call it. Like Joe Rogan's podcast looks great because he has somebody producing his podcast. He doesn't do any of that work.
Yep.
And people need to get that out of their head, is that he's making it look easy. No, he's not doing anything but talk and bringing on his guest.
He does the equivalent of what I'm doing right now. He shows up, he sits down in his chair, like, you're doing all the work right now. I just had to show up and turn my stuff on. He doesn't even do that. He doesn't even turn his stuff on. He shows up to a hot mic and just starts talking. Yeah.
And that's what they don't talk about, like the whole setup of everything. Like just the setup in itself and finding the right area in the room that you're going to be doing it in. It takes so much time to actually plan that out, because I think I've moved my table probably 12 times before I've actually settled for this is where I'm going to go with. And I just said, screw it. It's either going to sound good or it's not.
Yeah.
And with content, I think that people just need to deal with what they have. And if they ever do want to make it big, you're going to need to get that Rodecaster Pro. You're going to need to get that XLR mic set up. Like it's not going to work right for you if you want to be like Joe Rogan.
Oh, for sure. I always told people when I was coaching, like, if you ever get to that point where you do want to upgrade your equipment, absolutely upgrade it, because the equipment you have makes a huge difference. But it's good to go ahead and film with what you have to start. My first like 100 videos on YouTube were all done with an iPhone. No joke. I bought a little shotgun mic that plugs into the iPhone. That's what I use for audio. And then slowly over the last couple of years, I've upgraded equipment. But the good thing about that is that you get a ton of videos under your belt. So then by the time you do have that equipment, you at least have the content down. You have the basics of making a video, and then you work on, you work on a thing at a time, try to improve something 1% better with every video, upgrade your equipment over time. But you got to get those videos under your belt, or in your case, those podcasts under your belt, to continue to get better and better.
And my goal is just to actually sit down and talk to people. It's not to actually get any big. Now, if it ever does get bigger, then awesome. Then I'll take it as I get it. But I'm not going to go out there and try to buy like a Rodecaster. Like if I had the opportunity to buy a Rodecaster, that would have been the first buy that I could do. But I don't need that for what I'm doing. Like I don't have like 12 guys in this room. So like I think that, like, if I could give a tip for like content, like if you're just doing what I'm doing, like you said, get a phone, and then maybe get like this cheap little like small mixer. Like that's all you need, and you can podcast. Like the way that I sound right now, I don't know what I sound like to you, but I sound weird just because my voice sounds weird to me.
Oh
And a
yeah.
lot of people don't realize that you're going to sound completely different to somebody else's ears. And if I could give a tip for any type of podcast content, that's what I would say, is start small. Don't worry about all that Rodecaster Pro stuff until you're actually going to have like 4 or 5 guys in the same room. That way you get a separate audio feed through every single person talking. Now with you, what would you do if you could give one content, I guess, tip as a content creator, as somebody who used to teach people how to do stuff and do stuff properly? What would be your number one, other than hit record? We always hear that, and I've got nothing wrong with that.
You already knew what I was going to say.
Well, I think that goes across the board with anybody that's going to give somebody a tip. But like, other than that, what is your biggest tip that you could give somebody who's going to try to jump into content?
Don't focus on trying to make everything better right away. Every video that you do, every piece of content you make, try to make one thing better. Try to make 1% of what you're doing better. If you try to focus on that perfect video every time and you're trying to make everything better, you're going to overanalyze. You've heard the saying, paralysis by analysis. You're going to analyze so much and plan so much and try to make everything so perfect that you're never going to actually sit down and hit record. I'll say it that way. You're never actually going to do that, because you're going to overanalyze so much. You're either going to convince yourself that you can't do it, and you're never going to get to that point, or you're going to spend so much time overanalyzing. Now you're stressed about it, and you put it off till tomorrow. Then you don't do it tomorrow. Focus on one thing at a time and build from there.
And that's what I probably did. I probably focused 3 months of my time deciding on what a hosting platform to do, and that was a waste of time.
Yeah.
I stuck with the free one, whatever it was at the time. I think it was Anchor. Now they've switched
Anchor.
it to something else. You don't need anything more than that if you're just a small, like, person in the middle of the Midwest that's got nobody but your friends on there. You don't need. I don't know what other people are using. Like, you've got Buzzsprout and stuff like that. Just get the free one. Be happy. It'll still sound all the same as long as you edit properly and stuff like that. So you'll be all right.
Yeah.
I do want to give you a shout out about a video that I don't think it got enough credit for something that you created, and this was back in probably right when you first started. And I don't think you got enough credit for what you did, and the setup was actually it was 2 videos. That was when you did the Scarecrow. You did all that setup, and then also the Beetlejuice. Like, you did the Beetlejuice intro perfectly. That was probably one of the coolest things that I've probably ever seen. How long did that take?
So, funny story about the Beetlejuice video. Did you ever really notice how that stuff was put together? You know what all
It
that
looked
was?
like you had like foam board and stuff like that is what it looked like.
So Mel went to like Michael's and Hobby Lobby and these places, and she bought these little like light up gravestones and these yeah, there was some foam stuff. There was this greenery that was filmed on the top of our bed. She laid the green. It was basically like a felt. I don't know what it is. It's the green craft felt type material.
Like a pool table type stuff.
Yeah, exactly. She laid that out across the bed. She hand painted all these little gravestones and all the little houses
So
and stuff.
I need to have Mel come on here so I can give her props for this part, huh?
Yeah, she killed it with that one for sure.
Yeah.
She spent a whole day hand painting. The kids were at school. She spent a whole day hand painting all these things, and they sat in the kitchen and dried, and then we filmed that video like 2 days later. It was, yeah.
It didn't get enough props for what you did. Granted, it was just an intro for a review that you did of Ascent for Black Rebel.
Right.
But it's still hands down one of my favorites that you did. And then the promo that you shot for Scarecrow was pretty dope. So I gotta give you props for that.
That was the Scarecrow Reborn. Yeah, I used some masking in that. So I don't know if you know or not, but when me and my son are sitting on the couch and the Scarecrow appears right there, that's
like
also me and the Scarecrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was you or if it was either. I guess I didn't think it was Mel. I thought it might have been one of your kids at first because it didn't look very big.
Yeah, nope, it was me. So we
like
set
when
the
it was
camera
in the yard, it looked like a stuffed Scarecrow.
Yeah. So that was, what did we do for that? I was wearing a Scarecrow it was a Scarecrow costume. It was a Halloween costume.
Yeah.
Basically we took the costume and laid it. So I was wearing the costume standing there, and then when the scene kind of fades and the Scarecrow falls, I just did that in a way like I fell right there in front of the camera, and then of course, you move around, you do some stuff, and you cut out the middle, but then we kind of laid it out there so it looked like the Scarecrow was just laying there, but he was gone. But yeah, the Scarecrow costume, all that was me. So just use masking. So like in the living room during that scene, set the camera up. You don't touch the camera. You leave it rolling the entire time. Me and my son sat on the couch and pretended to be scared of, obviously while we're filming this, it's nothing but a living room. I mean, we're pretending like we're scared. My son throws the popcorn over his head. And then you leave the film rolling. I put on the Scarecrow costume, and then I went over there and I acted that part. And then you just do masking and editing software, which I use Final Cut Pro, but just masking to put that together. Yeah, that was a fun one to make.
But I don't think you got enough credit for what it actually was, because like that wasn't nobody's ever done that before for any type of review. Like, you went all out on those two specifically.
Yeah,
and I remember that one because I think some of my favorite scents, like, they don't make them anymore, and Beetlejuice was number one. Like, that was one of the most unique scents, and it's still like it lingers anytime that I wear like either the cologne or the little bits of the drops that I have left.
Right.
But the way that you edited that video and prepared it, now I have to give credit to Mel and not you. I mean, I'm just saying. But
no, that's fair. Yeah.
But the Scarecrow video, the same thing. Like, you did something that nobody had ever done. So like that's another thing that I thought you were actually going to bring up, is to be unique. Things like that, whether you're doing a content review thing, like those are what catch my eye. Now, I don't know about other people, but like I just think that those weren't highlighted enough for what you've done, like in the content game.
No, I appreciate that. Those were fun to make. Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
I
give
mean,
Mel all the credit for the Beetlejuice. That was her. She planned that
I
entire
guess I
opening.
got to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that was, it looked like it was the real thing, but granted, like you could tell that it wasn't. But the way
Yeah.
that it looked like you spent a couple $1,000s on whatever it was that you guys were filming on. I was like,
No, it was
that
like
diagram from the movie was legit.
it's like $25 at Hobby Lobby. Yeah.
But it looked like it was done like out of the movie, but you could tell that it wasn't from the movie because of all the other things that weren't a part of the graveyard things that were lighting up on it. It was just cool.
Right. No,
Like
I
you could put
appreciate it,
that
man.
on like a little short for
Yeah,
Halloween.
you know what? It's close enough to Halloween now. I should probably share that one again, huh?
I liked it. I mean, just I like the idea about what it takes to prep, because a lot of people don't see that side of things, just the prepping thing. And one person that I think points out prepping is Jeremy Sears. I don't know if you follow him.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Like his prep, like the reason why he takes so long to like make a video or come out with a video is that his prep time is like days for him to shoot that video, and he goes into that, and like I don't think people give enough credit for what people are actually doing in between each video.
Right.
Whether it
Right.
be planning, buying supplies, buying the stuff to review or try out, but it's also that setup and the filming and the moving of the camera, the audio and all that stuff. Those things aren't highlighted enough, and I think it's because it takes too long to show that.
Yeah. There's some content creator, coaching type creators that do a good job of showing that. But yeah, the average person that watches content, they don't really
Peter
realize
McKenna does a good job at showing that.
what a filmographer that guy is, man.
Oh man,
Yep.
like the way that he can go to a flea market and just pick things out, like something that we would consider junk. Like he could just turn it into something that makes the product that he's highlighting look to be something like they would have Gucci like on a commercial. Like he's just that good. And he doesn't do very much content anymore, but I think he works for Ford now, doesn't he?
Oh, I don't know what he's doing now. Yeah.
I think he works for Ford, and like they've taken the canary in the coal mine, man. Like that guy is legit in what he does, and his art is phenomenal. I think his photography is awesome. His videography is awesome. He's a very unique individual, and granted, he's from Canada, so that right there tells me that like he was raised with nothing to do, so he just made something to do, and that's kind of like where I got that from.
Yeah. You know a video I came across the other day, a Casey Neistat video. I haven't seen Casey Neistat in so long.
Who's that?
But so he's
Is
another
that the country singer?
No, he's a big YouTuber. He's
Oh,
another
okay.
one. His videography is fantastic also. If you look at Casey Neistat, Neistadt on YouTube.
Casey Neistat.
Yeah, he does some cool stuff, but he's kind of the same thing. Like he did his thing and he hasn't really done a lot anymore. But I came across a video the other day and I don't know if this was real or if this is something he made, but he's walking down the streets in New York City and he sees a hole next to a manhole cover and he sticks his hand down through it and you can see the subway. I'm not giving it justice by my description. Like you'd have to watch the video.
Right. It looks like he's jumping through a time hole or something. Is that what,
yeah,
is
like
that what
he's
you're trying to
showing, basically saying, yeah, be careful walking the streets of New York City. I don't know if that's really how the street was or if he just kind of like made this cool video, but you have to look it up, man. I'm sure you can probably search like Casey Neistat, New York subway or something. It would probably come up. Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. I do have a sports question for you, and I was thinking about this the other day because of Taylor Swift and Swifties.
Right.
And you were the biggest Packers fan that I know. Is there anything that you as a fan could say that like a reason why you would stop becoming a Packers fan? Is there anything that the Green Bay Packers could do to where you would not be a fan of them?
No way.
Not one thing.
Nothing.
Because I was trying to think of a reason why I would stop being a Cowboys fan or if any other team, and like the only thing I could ever like I guess think of would be if like you know how like you have the not Ray Lewis but the Jamal Lewis situation with the Ravens. If they wouldn't have cut him, how many fans do you think they would have lost?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know.
It was Ray Rice. It was Ray Rice.
Ray Rice. I'm trying. So there was Ray Lewis had some things going on too.
Was it Jamal Lewis? Who's the one that hit his girlfriend? Was that Ray Rice?
Ray Rice. Yes, Ray Rice.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you had Jamal Lewis, who was accused of
Murder.
the ultimate. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. And they didn't cut him, but he was also acquitted of all charges. Like nothing ever came
Right.
of it afterwards.
Right.
But like, I was literally trying to think of like why I wouldn't be either a Cowboys fan or even a fan of the NFL. Like, it would take a lot. Like, I don't know if I could say that I would stop being a Cowboys fan if they didn't cut a player for something that he was accused of doing. Now, the video, if there was video like that, like, and they kept him, like, that probably would kind of make me go, this is a little questionable. Like, do you think that would make it to where you'd be like, I don't know about this?
I'd like to think that I would never have to worry about it, because I think most teams are going to do the right thing in those extreme situations. But yeah, I mean, I guess if you had some extreme situation, like some player, on tape doing something terrible, think of the ultimate, and they accepted it and all that, then yeah, maybe that would make me question a little bit the organization, the current ownership, or in our case, the current president, CEO, because we're a fan-owned team. But
Right.
it would make me question the current leadership in place for sure, at a minimum. Yeah.
Like, that's the only thing I could think of as the reason why somebody would stop being a fan of another team. Or if maybe they went to another state. Like, say they stayed the Packers, but they weren't the Green Bay Packers. Like, say they were the, I don't know, Minnesota Packers or New York Packers
no,
or
okay,
something
you
like
found
that.
it. Yeah, that'd be the one. Yeah. If they
Yeah, so,
became the
like, that would
Chicago
be
or Minnesota Packers, that'd be it. Yeah.
right. I mean, I was curious because you don't hear about people, like, talk about stop being a fan. Like, I heard people say, like, I stopped watching the NFL because they were letting people take a knee or whatever and stuff like that. And I had a simple resolution for that. You just stop filming those players. Don't film the players that are taking the knee. Let them do what they want to do. Just don't film them. Film the American flag or film the fans that are actually standing. I mean, you lost a lot of fandom when, like, they were taking the knees. I mean, that's just what it was. And
Yeah.
I just didn't know if there was anything that a fan could do or say that they would stop being a fan. Like, nobody talks about that.
It would take something really extreme. I mean, look, right, you have like Thursday night, we got destroyed by the Lions. I mean, one of the worst losses in so many years, and we just it's things. The state of football in Green Bay is not great right now. But
I don't
still
think
love my
Jordan
team,
Love is your
man.
guys' quarterback. I don't think Jordan Love is your quarterback. I don't think that.
I'm still on the fence. I still have faith in the kid. I still have faith right now.
I think he's a good athlete. I just don't think he is your. I mean, you guys had 2 generations of great quarterbacks, and then you go to Jordan Love. Brett Favre, hands down, top 10 quarterback of his generation, top 5 quarterback. Then you have Aaron Rodgers, who is still in the league. He's a top, when he's healthy and when he's playing, he's a top 5 quarterback. Jordan Love, maybe a top 20 quarterback in the league right now, is what I would say for what he's done. He hasn't had enough to prove himself. I think a season with him would actually give him enough justification whether or not to keep him, maybe.
Yeah.
But you guys aren't doing them any favors by not picking up things that you guys need. You guys are picking up things you think you need, and that's how I see it.
The Green Bay Packers they completely changed their draft. What they did this year, like they have consistently every year, they draft weapons, or I'm sorry, they draft linemen, they draft protection for the quarterback, and they draft defensive linemen. Historically, that's how they've opened up drafts. And they've always been terrible about getting weapons for Aaron Rodgers, for Brett Favre. Now, I'm just saying, draft wise, there's always been some great receivers and things, but draft wise, this year they flipped that opposite. They grabbed weapons for Jordan Love, but they have nobody protecting him on that line. It's
no,
dude. Did you see him getting blown up Thursday night?
Not Thursday night, but I did. Was it week 1? The win that they won. Who they win against?
Chicago week 1. Yeah.
Didn't he get blown up? Or no, it was Atlanta, the one where he looked drunk and he fell forward.
Atlanta was killing him. Yeah.
And he fell forward, and somebody did. I don't know if you saw this. It said, "Hey, Jordan Love forgot to, I guess, show up after the tailgate party. Like, he fell forward, like he was a little intoxicated." That was
he admitted during the postgame that was a busted play on his part. Yeah, he didn't get the snap count right.
QB sneak.
Supposed to be, but he didn't get the snap count right. So the center's like, I didn't know you were supposed to get the ball yet.
Oh man, but I mean, Dallas. I had no. I never. I'm probably the least person that will say it's our year or we're them boys or whatever it is you're going to say. But I will say this, is that Dallas has impressed me this year, like with what they've done defensively and how they've, they picked up Gilmore. Like, that's what I feel the Dallas Cowboys have done great in. Our offense, I could live without Dak. I could live without the whole running back situation. I think it's stupid that we gave away a running back to almost get another running back who had the exact same numbers. We almost got what's his face from Tennessee, and I was like, why would you do that? Like, it was going to be a total Jerry Jones move, and that's who I'm not a fan of, is Jerry Jones. He's the worst nucleus in the NFL.
Yeah. Dallas has not won anything since he came there, so there's
Oh yeah, they have. What do you mean? He's won 3 Super Bowls.
Jerry Jones?
Jerry Jones, yeah. When they got Aikman, Jerry Jones drafted Aikman.
So maybe I'm thinking of history wrong here. When year did Jerry Jones?
Was our last Super Bowl? 93. 93 is when he got 92, I think, is when he got the Dallas Cowboys. Whenever we got the Miami Hurricanes, Jimmy Johnson is when Jerry Jones got the team.
Okay.
And then that's when he got Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman brought them 3 Super Bowls, wasn't it? 2 Super Bowls? 2 Super Bowls.
And
he let Landry go in 89.
Yes.
Wasn't it? Tom Landry got let go by Jerry Jones the year after.
Who was the coach right before Jimmy Johnson?
Landry.
Okay.
And then between Jimmy Johnson and I don't know who it was the guy from OU. We had him. He was the offensive coordinator under Jimmy Johnson, and then we let him come in, and he won the 96 Super Bowl after Jimmy Johnson. I mean, it wasn't really his team, but Jimmy Johnson's the one that organized that team.
Right.
But he took the Super Bowl win.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
I'm trying to think of his name now. But it wasn't his team. It was after Jimmy Johnson left.
Yeah, I don't know.
Coach after Jimmy Johnson. But no, he did Tom Landry wrong.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
He fired him over the phone. That's what Jerry Jones is known for. Is just he's not a class act by any means. And if the family does anything like he's been doing, that team will Barry
Switzer. Yeah. So what do you think happens this year with Mike McCarthy?
I can't stand Mike McCarthy. I think that we should have waited out with what we had. I mean, he wasn't a bad backup, but I think we could have benefited better with Sean Payton.
Yeah. I think
that's who I was hoping that we were going to get.
I think if Dallas doesn't make a deep playoff run this year, I think Mike McCarthy's probably on the chopping block.
Yeah, but I could see. I mean, he kept Clap Happy. What's his name?
Jason Garrett,
the redheaded dude. Yeah. Jason Garrett for way longer than that, and he didn't go to no playoffs. So I can't say that he's going to cut him. But I do see like quarterback changes going to be taking place because we got the quarterback for nothing. That was probably the best move the Dallas Cowboys have made in an off season for a long time. Hopefully Jerry Jones steps down before too long, and I think his son has a little bit better head on his shoulders. So I won't say that they're going to fire McCarthy because of how long they kept Garrett. But one of the coaches that I was surprised that they didn't give a chance to really succeed in the game was Wade Phillips. And I'm a Wade Phillips fan just because of his defensive, his mindset with defense. Yeah. Because if you don't have a defense and they're not taking the ball from other offenses, then your offense is not going to have a time to shine. And another player that a lot of people overlook is Tony Romo. Tony Romo was a solid quarterback. Nobody can disagree with that. He had some of the best comebacks in Cowboy history, but he doesn't get that shine because he didn't win a playoff. And why didn't he win a playoff? Because by the end of the year, nobody was healthy.
Yeah.
He had a chance to win a playoff game, but he fumbled a ball. And that's his legacy. And now he's up for Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Fame bid, which is kind of blows my mind. But I think he needs to be a defensive coordinator somewhere. And he needs to be up in that press box calling defensive plays to stop. He was 90% of calling Tom Brady's plays. That was crazy. defensive coordinators where Tony Romo needs to be.
He's a great commentator, though. He'd probably rather be
I would
down
say
there
he's one of the best.
in football, yeah. But he's a great guy. It amazes me how he can just call a game and he's telling you exactly what's getting ready to happen on the field just by the setup, just by the package he sees.
And that's when I was thinking, like, why isn't this guy a defensive coordinator for any team? Like, if he can call a play out that Tom Brady is the one that's setting up for, he's going to be able to call out anybody else's plays.
Yeah.
And he was even able to call out the person he was throwing the ball to before the ball was even snapped.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, get that dude a job as a defensive coordinator, and they'll be the most unstoppable defense you've ever seen.
Well, you know what? Let's bring him up to Green Bay because our DC right now is terrible. I'd love to see that guy gone.
He's no worse than the Bears, though. So I mean, you're not the Bears. That's the benefit. You're not the Bears.
Right. We're not the Bears. Yeah.
But Ken, hey, I appreciate you coming on and doing this and taking the time out of your day, especially the hour and 51 minutes that we've been going.
No, dude, I appreciate the invite. This was fun to sit and talk to you. And like I said before we started, we've been in chats together for several years now, but it's cool to come face to face and chat. So yeah, dude, no, thank you.
It's a lot different talking to somebody for sure. So like when I talked to Dan, he was on one of the episodes. I think it was episode 8 or 9. It was like we had known each other for a long time just because of how much time we spent in a chat. And same with you. Like I feel like I've known you for longer than we've ever talked, like even in chats or over DMs and stuff like that. So I just appreciate you saying yes to you coming on here. Like it wasn't just for my perspective. It was also to highlight what you've done. And I think you're a solid content creator. I loved everything that I've had an opportunity of watching. Granted, I haven't watched everything. There's not enough time in the day to watch everything by any means.
Absolutely, yeah.
But just keep doing what you're doing and tell Mel that shout out for that Beetlejuice thing. And I give her respect for backing you on everything that you want to do with whatever it is that your endeavors are, like whether it be content creation, moving. Like whose idea was that? Was it hers or yours?
To move, you talking?
Yeah, from Kentucky to
physical moves. So yeah, this is where she's from. So yeah, we when I retired from the Army, we came back up here. I love it. So when we would come up here to visit her family and come up here, I love it up here. So I was all for it. But yeah, this gets her closer to her family. So
well, you've done something for her. I mean, all that stuff that she's done for you, like change her name on Instagram and YouTube, and she's doing something.
She's my rock, man. She is incredible. Yeah.
But hey, I appreciate you coming on. Before you go out, we'll end this and then just leave it open for a few minutes. We'll download it and then I'll let you go.
Okay, sounds good, man. No, I appreciate you having me on, dude. Thanks so much.
Hey, you want to shout out your channels before we go?
Yeah, so Kensconsin Beards of Fitness on YouTube. If you go to kensconsin.com, KENSCONSIN.com, you can find all of that through there. So that's probably the easiest way. But yeah, thanks.
And I'll post all your stuff in the description and everything. So again, thank you, man. I would love to do this again, see where you are with your fitness journey. So just keep an eye out, and I'll shoot you a message to have you on again sometime, man.
Tell you what, when I start phase 1 of 75 hard and I have to take those cold showers and maybe I start doing the ice baths, we'll come back and talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to know your perspective about that for sure. Because
me too.
I mean, below the waist is the only thing I'm scared about.
Yeah, man. I'd like to know my perspective also. Maybe we'll have to figure that out.
All right. Well, good luck with that, man.
All right. Thanks, brother.